Hello, good morning everybody. My name is Michelle Wills and today's date is, I don't know if you can see, I'll just enlarge it for you. It is 5 minutes to 10 on Sunday morning the 31st of May 2026. So as you can see here, this video is probably the last video I'm going to be making on my legal battles with William Hill Bookmakers. So you may have seen the previous videos on my channel concerning being excluded for not producing photo ID that doesn't exist. I know it's pathetic, but it resulted in me taking legal action through the Civil National Business Centre, which is better known as the County Court, against this company for not honouring the bets. So I'll just briefly, as it's covered in the previous videos, go through what was said in said videos. That I placed anti-post football bets mainly in June and July of 2025 for the forthcoming football season that ended last week with the Premier League matches last Sunday. And it resulted, although my matches involved, the results were already known at the end of April, and William Hill refused to pay out my bets, which totalled just over £2,000, because I would not, in my words, I refused to provide them with a passport, driving licence or citizen's card. And I won't go into it anymore, other than because it's covered in my previous videos, but William Hill refused to pay out because they wanted me to provide documents. I've never had a passport, driving licence or citizen's card. I do not have those documents, and I never will have those documents. I do not think, though no one never knows. So I took them to court and sued them. So here you can see I've switched from the picture of William Hill shop to the gov.uk website, and this is for money claims. So as you can see, there's me, Michelle Wills versus William Hill Limited, the case number and the claim amount £1,980.68, excluding any interest claim and the claim fee. The claim is settled. Yes, the claim has been settled. You have confirmed that the claim against William Hill Limited was settled on the 20th of May 2026. The defendant has 19 days from the date of settlement to notify the court of any objection. Okay, so how was the case settled? Well, they had until, I believe it was the 24th of May to file a defence. It could have been the 20th. So my claiming for bets, I would say previous videos will show you my claim, and the response. So this is the response to my claim. This is what William Hill has said. So we'll just download that. And this is the defence response. So that's the. I'll go a bit larger and so you can see more clearly. There you go. Case name: me versus William Hill. Stamped by the County Court. Received on the 19th of May. So it was the 20th of May then the defence had to be filed by, and they filed it on the 19th via online service. The defendant's details: William Hill Limited. The address: 1 Bedford Avenue, London. So we go into the defence. There's a telephone number there, as you can see. 07541683524, an email address legal@williamhill.com, a defence response, and then they go on to just say that their rules and regulations about what the claim was, roughly talking about their rules, which I fully acknowledge, and I used to always say, because all high street bookmakers by law have to post completely every single letter, every single word of their rules and terms and conditions of accepting bets in their shops, in each individual shop. If they don't, then they're breaking the Gambling Commission's laws, and therefore they could lose their license. So they have to, they call it, by placing a bet, you accept the FDR applying to your bet. So it then goes on. I was claiming for the total value of the bets, so which was just over £2,000. The reason why only actually 4 of the bets, of the 16 bets involved, were winning bets, but I noticed when I went to collect the bets, when I put them into a FOBT machine, or not a FOBT, a sports betting terminal, it said cancelled on them. Even the losing bets said cancelled. So if something is cancelled, if you go to a pop concert, then, and it's cancelled for whatever reason, then you get your money back, don't you? And it was quite written quite clearly on my betting slips, cancelled, and I photographed every one of those bets. So therefore I was asking for my money back, simply. Now the difference between the actual winnings and the actual stake was only about £500. So out of the just over £2,000 I staked, I had about actually it was £1,700 back, roughly. So about £300 I lost on these bets. So, and it just goes on. It talks about when I agreed to cash out, and they argued one of the bets I wanted to cash out for £754. As you can see here, the claimant has incorrectly listed the stake at the value claimed for each bet claim form of the bets. So the actual losing bets were £926.30. That was the stake of the losing bets, £926. But then we have this bet here. The bet was actually cashed out in one of the licensed betting offices on the 14th of April 2026, and the defendant has an audio recording of a bet being cashed out for £754.38 at the claimant's request. A cash out allows a customer to settle a bet early before the event has finished, but at reduced odds. This allows customers to secure guaranteed returns, regardless of the final outcome. Now, I did indeed, that's 100% true, I did indeed. The bet concerned was Worthing to win the National League South at 5-2, £100 stake. York City to win the National League at 7-4, a £100 stake, and a £50 double. So I was in fact, again it's covered in previous videos, given an email telling me to go to the shop as soon as possible, a shop, didn't say which shop, a shop, to cash out the bets. So I went the following day, and they refused to give me the cash because they wanted photo ID. So therefore I did not cash out the bet. They refused to give me the cash. So, therefore I was the bet was successful. About £1,150 odd, I believe it would have paid. So cashing out cost me around £350–400. It would have cost me. My argument was they refused to a cash out. It's a cash out. You cash out, don't you? You get cash. So that is what I did. I sued for the full amount of the bet because they refused my cash out. So because they didn't give me the cash. So that was part of my claim. But then they go on to say that again, I won't read all these boring over fair deal rules and all the rest of it. It does say that in the terms and conditions, in all bookmakers, that they have the right at any stage to ask for identification. And I have no problem with that. That is not the issue of my claim. They can ask for whatever they want. It doesn't, matter. The trouble is, what they cannot ask for is documents that don't exist. I don't have a passport. Never have had a passport in my life. I don't have one now. I, at 62 years old, have no intention of going overseas in the future. I do not have a driving license. At 62 years old, I'm not about to start taking driving lessons. And a citizen's card. Now, I looked at this citizen's card. It was actually given to me by a member of staff in a William Hill shop. They had a holder with a load of these brochures to apply for a citizen's card. And I read it, and it was only £15. And I thought, oh, right, perhaps I'll do that, because I don't mind spending £15. But then sort of it went on to something called referees. And you needed a responsible person. That could be your manager at work. It could be your religious leader, a priest, an elder in a church, whatever, a vicar, whatever, a bank manager it could be. And I was struggling because I don't really know anybody that well. And the only person on the list, they had a list of about 40 different occupations, was your GP, the doctor. So I thought, well, yeah, I could, I'll do that. So I rang with my doctor's surgery and I requested to speak to my doctor's secretary, who was busy, and was told by the receptionist that she'll make sure that I get a call back. About an hour or so later, I did indeed get a call back from the doctor's secretary and explained the situation, that I needed a referee. And the doctor's secretary said that yes, the doctor would be happy to act as my referee for a fee of £40. Yeah. The greed is endemic everywhere, isn't it? Yeah. So he wanted £40 for the privilege of being my referee. So therefore, you're looking at in order for me to basically, I need the citizen's card as photo ID. I need it for no other reason. So what do? Do I pay over £100 to get a passport, not to travel abroad, but to simply pick up a bet? It's outrageous. Do I apply for a driving license, a provisional driving license? I believe provisional driving licenses are accepted, but I have no intention of learning to drive. So why do I need a driving license, provisional driving license, to pick up a bet? It's bonkers, it's bizarre. A citizen's card. Now, a citizen's card was designed around 20 odd years ago, and they were designed for one purpose, for young people, to prove that they were over a certain age, so that to go to a nightclub, for example, to prove they were over 18, or to buy cigarettes to prove they're over, I don't know what age you got to be to buy cigarettes. We'll say 18, maybe 16, I don't know. But that is what it was basically to prove not your identity as such, but to prove your age. To prove your age, that was done. I thought, yeah. So it is utterly ridiculous. So I then, began this. This is their defence. This is defence. So there's nothing where really I want to comment on the defence. But the next day, so on the 20th, I received an email from William Hill. And I think what swayed it in my favour and why we reached a settlement was this. So here I have gone to another government website, gov.uk, how to vote, part of vote in UK elections. So this is very interesting, and I personally have never voted for personal reasons, never would vote, but that's another story for another day. So obviously we had, beginning of May, we had what was called local elections. And I didn't know until about a week before these local elections that to vote in the UK, or in England certainly, you need photo identification. To me, I think that's, bonkers. And for example, in doing my research, I found out that 4 million adults, yes, 4 million adults in the UK do not have a bank account. And over 8 million adults in the UK do not have photo ID such as a driving licence, a passport or a citizen's card. So, it's not just me. I'm not unique in not having these documents. 8 million people do not have photo ID. So, you'll need to show photo ID when voting in person in some UK elections or referendums. You need it to vote in UK parliamentary elections, including general elections and by-elections. Recall of MP petitions in England, Scotland and Wales. Local elections, so that's what we had in England on the 7th of May, whenever it was, beginning of May. Including councils, mayors, the Greater London Authority and parishes. Police and Crime Commission elections. Neighbourhood planning referendums in England. Local authority referendums in England. So therefore, you need to vote. You need election. So what is acceptable ID? Check if you have accepted photo ID. The photo ID you show must be the original version. You cannot use a photograph, image on a phone or a photocopy of your ID. The photos on your ID must look like you. You can still use your ID even if it has expired. You'll need one of the following types of photo ID to vote. A UK or Northern Ireland photo card driving licence, full or provisional. Don't have. A driving licence issued by an EU country, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, the Isle of Man, or any of the Channel Islands. I don't have. A UK passport. I don't have. A passport issued by an EU country. I don't have. A pass card, National Proof of Age Standard Scheme, I haven't got a clue what that is. A blue badge. That's, I believe, for parking, isn't it? For disabled people to park on double yellow lines, etc. A biometric residence permit. I haven't got a clue what that is. A defence identity card. MOD? No. A HM Armed Forces veteran card? Nope. A national identity card issued by an EU country? Nope. A Northern Ireland electoral identity card? Nope. A voter authority certificate? Nope. An anonymous elector's document? Again, I haven't got a clue what that is, but nope, I don't have one. Now this is the interesting bit. You can also use one of the following travel passes as photo ID when you vote. An older person's bus pass, a disabled person's bus pass, an Oyster 60 Plus, a Freedom Pass, and all the rest of it. Now, on around the 6th of January, when this saga with him began, when they banned me from gambling in their shops and suggested I have to supply photo ID, I sent them a copy of my disabled person's bus pass. Totally unaware of this, and they refused. They wanted me to produce documents that don't exist. So my court claim with William Hill was not about their terms and conditions. I would have lost, because it says in the terms and conditions I have to produce photo ID, passport, driver license, citizen's card, etc. So that, I'm quite happy with that. But what my lawsuit was about was, how can you supply documents that have never existed, that do not currently exist, and are likely to exist any time in the future? So that was what my legal claim was on about. And I think when I sort of mentioned this to William Hill, when they filed a defence, I think it's that, because I sent him my bus pass on the 6th of January, which they returned, or 2 days later. Obviously I sent a photo of it, and 2 days later they responded saying it was not acceptable. So it's acceptable to vote in a general election, to use my disabled person's bus pass, but it's not acceptable to pick up bets in a William Hill betting shop. Absolutely outrageous. And I think their legal team must have realised this, when I pointed it out to them. And I think that's why they offered to pay me out. So yes, they paid me out exactly my £1,900 in total they paid me. So yes, so it just goes to show and goes to prove yet again, and I've always said this, no matter, I have no legal qualifications, no letters, numbers after my name, no experience on legal matters other than homework. So my advice to people is, this is, I believe, my 39th case, and I have won 39 out of 39. I've been to court only one, that was a sanctuary housing saga. So I've been to court once, all the rest are settled out of court. Because if you believe you are right, it's be meticulous with your research. For example, using a solicitor. It's very expensive. Solicitors, when I tried, between £150 and £250 an hour they wanted. And to represent you in court, you're talking £2,500. Obviously, people on limited means, such as myself, cannot afford that. So what you do what I do. Living in South Devon, so we've got Exeter and we've got Torquay as the two main towns. You've got New Abbott as well. I guess you quite call that a main town. So what I did was, I went around, because most solicitors, especially the larger ones, offer a half an hour free service. So get your list of questions of what you wish to be advised on, make your list, and go round. and book half an hour free appointment, and you get legal advice. You do that 10 times to 10 different solicitors, which I did. I think it was 14 solicitors I used in Exeter, Torquay, and Newton Abbot. And you're saving yourself, 14 solicitors, that's 7 hours of free legal advice, which would have cost between £150 and £250 an hour, depending on which solicitor you went to. So that's the way to think of the knowledge. Do your research. Go on a government website. To the best of my knowledge, they're not going to print, the government's own website aren't going to print untruths, are they? So unless it's just a human error. So be meticulous in your research and never give up, because in my defence, when they can be bothered to make a defence, these organisations will try to rubbish it. You broke our rules, or you haven't applied to our rules, so they ask for your claim to be struck out, but it has no merit. That's happened in all 40 of my cases, all 40 of them. That's happened, and it's a load of who shot John. It's just excuses. I've never had a case thrown out. Never. It's always gone to the stage where you're waiting for a date for a court hearing, when they normally cave in. So, my advice, never ever give up. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Yes, it does cost a small amount of money, which you may or may not get back. But at the end of the day, as I say, most companies will not want to spend thousands and thousands of pounds. For example, Sanctuary, it cost Sanctuary in total over, I believe it was £120,000 it cost Sanctuary, and over 25,000 was in legal fees alone to carry out works which were subject to my complaint, breach of my tenancy agreement, and the surveyor, independent surveyor appointed by the court, estimated the cost of the works were, I think it was from memory, around £1,200 or £1,400, and it cost them over £120,000. Ridiculous. The William Hill saga has quite happily now come to an end, and as I say, thank you for the comments. I'm not sure how the YouTube work. I have had because I obviously in some of my videos it shows my email address, which is Michelle Wills, MICHEWOE Wills WILLS 588842 @gmail.com, which I mentioned in several of my videos and also showed on the various documents. And I've had with William Hill on one particular video, it says, I know I looked before I checked this, I've had no views, but I've had 23 emails sent to me on that one video. So I don't know how the views work on YouTube. It certainly is not accurate. So I thank each and every one for watching this video, and glad to say it's ended, as most of them do, in a satisfactory conclusion. And please feel free to comment in the comment section down below, or you can contact me directly. And once again, thank you very much for watching this video.